One, take two, marker.
Welcome to Listen and Level Up. I am your host, Lauren Everett, B Lab U.S. and Canada's digital storyteller. Listen and Level Up was created to highlight and share the stories of the Women of the Level program. Now, Level is geared toward providing specialized support for BIPOC women entrepreneurs seeking B Corp certification. Now, if you tapped in with us last year, you'll see that we took our own advice and leveled up, coming from behind the computer screen to me here in person. Now, who better to introduce the beautiful women sitting next to me than themselves?
My name is Rebecca Denson, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Sachai Tea. Sachai means truth in Hindi, and we are based in Birmingham, Alabama, where we are small manufacturers of chai concentrate and loose leaf tea that highlights tea grown in India.
I'm Natika Washington, founder and CEO of Tomorrow Owned by You, or TOBY Agency. We are a creative strategy agency that works with brands that want to make an impact. We pair them with influencers who want to work with those brands and make impacts in their community to do business for good. At TOBY, we represent BIPOC representation, and we serve our clients by providing wealth-building opportunities, leadership development, and transformative experiences.
In this first installment, we're exploring the value of lived experience. And ladies, I'm curious to know how your personal stories and lived experiences have created or lent themselves to creating more empathetic and inclusive community spaces.
I remember about 2 years ago, so I regularly have opportunities to have conversations with women leaders. And 2 years ago, I was requested to have a conversation with some senior women in corporate America that were on a leadership path trying to kind of reach that next level. And when asked to present my conversation or my story, it was like, give us a story of your lived experiences. And so I took an opportunity to tell the story about me, who is this little Black girl from Peoria, Illinois, that has had an amazing opportunity based on networks and people that I've met. And in telling that story and getting personal with bringing that experience of my journey, which is a personal journey of faith. I grew up in a very religious family. And so it led a lot of what I did and who I am today. And in telling that story, there were several women that were on the call, and the story was focused on actually women leaders in Canada.
Oh, nice.
And there were a couple of women of color that were on the call that wasn't necessarily chiming in. But when I finished, I had a couple of women that jumped on and they just said, thank you. Thank you for being able to connect how you grew up in your community and how it shaped your journey. So I think when we're thinking of empathy and how a lived experience will actually affect a person or a room or communities, it's important for people to be able to relate.
Yeah, absolutely.
To relate to you, the person that's telling the story, but also to be able to see something in themselves.
Absolutely.
And a way for them to overcome whatever issue that they're experiencing.
Yeah.
So my lived experience includes growing up in the lush southern part of India, and my grandmothers just filling our homes with love and generosity for our family and for strangers. One of my grandmothers farmed for a living, and she would make the most delicious chutneys and dishes with really simple ingredients, but freshly harvested and seasonal ingredients. They would grow peanuts or groundnuts, chilies, seasonal grains, and we're so deeply connected to the land and what grew from the land. And it was not just for sustenance, but also for medicinal value.
Now, I know that you're based in Alabama. So how has the transition from India to the South helped your lived experience evolve, and how has that impacted your company?
So my husband grew up in southern United States, drinking iced tea, sweet tea, also known as iced tea.
Yes.
And I grew up in southern India, enjoying afternoon chai. Chai in my region means tea cooked with milk and spices. And so that was like my upbringing, just being surrounded by love and generosity and flavorful food, freshly harvested food. And so that ties to my desire to create this authentic chai experience.
So I'm also curious how cultural representation also impacts like your industry, and how you are perceived within your communities.
I think this is a question that's right on time.
Yeah.
As a company that represents BIPOC representation, we regularly, have conversations with potential clients that are trying to create equity, inclusivity, strategies. And what we're seeing in America for a company that supports that type of client, and I won't even say America, it's actually, global, is the walk back of resources that companies and commitments that companies want to make when it comes to equity and inclusivity. And I'll just give a lived experience that I'm going on right now with the company that has, come to TOBY Agency to partner on a diversity, equity, and inclusion strategy project. And it's been a long process of trying to get the leaders in the company to understand the importance of their request to be a more diverse and inclusive organization. And so what we find and what I'm learning as a Black business owner, you have to know when to walk away when a company is not ready to actually walk the walk.
Yeah.
And so in this space of equity and inclusion, if there are companies or individuals that are not ready to actually be on that journey, then sometimes it might make sense for you not to align with that organization.
I would love to know, like, at what point did you get to that place of saying, I feel like I can be more selective in the type of clients I take on, considering that all of them are not prepared to make such a commitment?
I was someone that worked in government for 20 plus years, and I worked in the nonprofit sector for another 9 years. And so stepping out on my own, the reason I did that was because I got tired of working in organizations where systems weren't changing.
Yeah.
I got tired of working on issues that were impacting communities that I cared about, but not seeing people that looked like me actually plus up or level up at that point. Hence why I joined Level.
Exactly.
But no, so you get to that point and you step out. And so now where TOBY Agency is right now, we have to remain true to who we are.
Absolutely.
And if we are a company that values representation, when you come to TOBY Agency, you're gonna see that.
Yes.
We Black.
Yeah.
Right? We're not just Black, but we're BIPOC. And we aren't scared to share that with our community, with the people that are trying to work with us. So it matters that we stay true to that. And if we have a potential client that is not adhering to our values as a company, then we walk away from the contract.
That's right. Yeah. What about you, Rebecca?
So there's business as usual, and we're used to that. We're used to this profit motivation and running a business just with one bottom line, that's profit. And then we hear all these stories of overnight success. And we know that's not how things really operate.
Right.
And when we are not like these isolated, islands.
Yeah.
We live and work in systemic issues. There's a deep context here, and a lot of our issues and problems have been around for generations. So I had to realize early on, starting a business and in trying to figure out what are our priorities, I had to realize like we can choose the path of doing business as usual and do things that way, but it really does not benefit our communities. It does not uplift our communities, our immediate context. And so from the beginning, bringing like value and dignity into every area of our business was really important for me, which also meant bringing value and dignity, or sourcing from farmers that speak value and dignity into land and people was really important to us. So building and leading a company has been a journey of reclaiming creative potential for me. Which, so in my generation, and maybe even like past generations, this idea of creative potential has been like undervalued. Bringing value and dignity to every area of running a business was important to us from the beginning, which also meant bringing value and dignity to the land and people we source our tea from. And all of that is within the context of displacement of land, people, culture, industry specifically, in the aftermath of colonization. And then for my community, for my people in India, it's the added layer of coming from the lower caste background that includes, just binding people to generations of servitude and injustice and poverty.
And you two both operate in vastly different industries, but I think we all know that no industry is exempt from dealing with the isms. So I want to know how both of you and your businesses operate with cultural authenticity while still dealing with racism and sexism and classism and homophobia, because all of those things are still present within corporate America or within your respective industries.
TOBY Agency chooses not to work with those people.
Yeah.
No, I'm just playing. No, I would say at TOBY Agency, we going through this process of being on the road to become a certified B Corp. One of the things that we had an opportunity to do was to really get to the core of what do we value from a business perspective. And once we kind of went through that practice and we're like, this is who we are, we really do want to be an agency that any company or any individual or any brand can reach out to and say, hey, we have this issue and we want to solve the issue. And we know that because we're a company that represents global talent, right, around the world, we can tap into any one of those diverse thought leaders and bring them into the fold to support that client's need. I think that also helps clients who maybe not be as far along on that journey of really implementing sustainable inclusivity strategies by being able to align with an organization that comes to the table already representing that diverse platform. It allows those companies to get lived experience.
Absolutely.
Because that's what we're really talking about, right? Communities that don't necessarily have proximity to a lived experience perpetuates the isms that you were talking about. So we are intent about trying to educate not just ourselves but our clients as well on the importance of that.
Doing the hard and real work. What about you, Rebecca?
So Sachai, our name means truth in Hindi, and being authentic, being true has always been very important to us. And with our products, nobody can claim that they have an authentic chai. Authentic, I mean, there's no one recipe for chai.
Right.
Every home and person and community have different preferences in India and how they drink the chai. And so, but chai means, in my region, it means tea cooked with or steeped with milk and spices. And so for me, it's authentic is being deeply connected with my roots, being deeply connected with my history and the overcoming in that history. And then also just like these memories of eating freshly harvested food, being surrounded by kindness and generosity and smells of delicious food. And so how do I bring that to my company in our products? It is through presenting a chai and tea that is intentionally sourced, and through creating a product that's made with all natural ingredients and a well-rounded, well-balanced product that brings dignity to every area of our business.
Yeah, it sounds like it's intention and truth literally from the root.
Yeah.
that you're sharing with your customers.
Mhm.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, Rebecca, I know you just certified. Congratulations. And you are well on your way to certifying. So I'm curious for both of you, especially going through different tracks of the level program, how has going through it impact your approach to sustainability and business impact?
So I will say that the level program has been mind blowing for me personally,
Yeah.
and for the business. When we established kind of the values and the missions of TOBY Agency, we knew who we were. We did not necessarily know how to run a sustainable business. And the level program came full with resources, people, time, money, and a cadre of amazing women leaders that were women entrepreneurs that are going through similar business strategies. I think the thing that I loved the most was the fact that we had a consultant assigned to us, because the process is a very rigorous process.
It's daunting.
But in doing so, it allowed us to understand the importance of sustainable business. So for TOBY, it has been mind-blowing, but also we are actively just infiltrating the B Corp world.
I know that's right. Yeah.
I am the new Jedi chair for the B Local Illinois board. So I'm super excited about that. And so I just think that programs like this for BIPOC women leaders, it gives us that additional support that we need to scale. And I'm super new. I'm not 2015. So I am super grateful that we actually had that opportunity.
Yeah.
So when you start a business, certifications are really important because they kind of help you show or prove what niche and what your priorities are. They kind of reinforce that. And so B Corp certification was really desirable from the beginning for us. And, you know, what companies are able to invest into their employees and into the environment and into creating impact. It's mostly companies that, you know, have a head start, that have resources. And so the level program has been really helpful to bridge that for under-resourced BIPOC founders to be able to come into that network of B Corps, because it's really awesome when you can share space with founders that care for impact, that care for generational change and equity and inclusion. So I'm really excited for the work that Level is doing and has done in being that bridge. And this is going to take a long time, but most good things, most good efforts take a long time to break, you know, generational systemic issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so excited that both of you went through the program and have seen such an immense value in it. So what advice would you give to business leaders who are rethinking if they should integrate DEI strategies into their business, or who are like, I don't really know where to start?
Find a friend, right? So I'm a part of a network called the CEO Action for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. Companies can send their practitioners, their HR heads, their DEI heads, their chief marketing officers, whoever, for 2 years to network similar to Level, to learn how to take practices of equity and inclusivity back into their companies. So the conversation around, you know, we can't do it because the block is hot is not a real conversation.
Yeah.
It's more of leaders not wanting to reinvest in their people who are shouting at the tops for equitable and social systems in their businesses and in the communities that they serve. Get out there and realize what's working, do research so that you are a company that can be practicing sustainable business.
Yeah, and that's the word.
Sustainable
That
business.
is the word. I think that wraps it up. Thank you both so much for joining me. If you want to learn more about the Level program, visit wearebcorps.com/level, and we'll see you next time.